Welcome back to the Igniting Hope podcast. Today's conversation is a really important one because we are not just talking about a project, we are talking about how we show up for our youth in real and meaningful ways. My name is Giavanna Cuomo-Browne. I'm the coordinator of community engagement at the Buffalo Center for Health Equity, and I am your host for today. And today only, because I have a special announcement. We have a special announcement for our listeners. We are officially introducing Vision Thrive, which is an initiative that's centered on listening to youth, understanding their experience, and creating space for honest conversations around their mental health and their well-being. As part of this work, with Vision Thrive, we'll be engaging students and school staff through focus groups, along with gathering input from parents and caregivers. So this is really about hearing from the full community that surrounds our youth. And today is also about the people helping to shape this work. I am joined by Arica Rouse, Director of Community Engagement at BestSelf. Fantah Whitt, a community advocate for BestSelf's Black mental health response team and founder of her very own WhittCare.
Hello.
And last but not least, the lovely Evanna Ramos, project coordinator for the Children and Youth with Special Healthcare Needs program at the Erie County Office of Health Equity. I am really excited to be in conversation with you all today. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Yeah. So before we get into further introductions to hear about all of the hats that each of you wear, and I know that each of you wear, I do want to tell our listeners a little bit more about what about what Vision Thrive really is. Why now for this project and initiative? What gap or needs is this helping to address?
So Vision Thrive, I would say in essence, one of the bigger gaps that we are aiming to fill is to elevate youth's voices. Mm-hmm. I feel that that's a major factor in to maybe why some systems don't work, why things are done and not working, is because youth's voices just aren't heard. And so we know that there's a need for their input. And we know that there's a need in their mental health and their daily lives. Youth go through a lot. Yeah. And we kind of miss that. Yeah. And so Vision Thrive is going to look at what the youth need. The first phase, we're going to start slow, but what they need and how can we improve systems to improve outcomes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about what youth specifically are we looking at on this project initiative?
So currently we're looking at youth from 5th grade to 8th grade in Buffalo Public Schools. Okay. So that's who we are. This is our intended audience for this phase of the project.
Yeah. Okay. And just a little bit more to set the stage and foundation for the initiative. And I think the meat and potatoes of our conversation today and the voices that we have brought here as guests. What will the focus groups with student and staff actually look like? Now, we have already begun. We have just checked the box for one of our staff focus groups, and our very first youth focus group just happened yesterday. So can you just talk a little bit more, Arica, about what we're hoping to learn from both of those focus groups?
Yeah, so the focus groups are set up and curated groups by the schools themselves. So the schools know the youth better, obviously, than we do as outside agencies coming in. And so they're small groups, and we're asking them intentional questions about what they go through on a daily. And then we're also asking their support staff or the staff in the schools what they see, right? What they hear about. So we're trying to, again, always trying to create and improve systems to help get what they need, right? Look at their mental health, look at their social emotional needs, and how that correlates to sometimes suspensions, absenteeism, and a lot of disciplinary actions that may happen in schools. So we're trying to correlate the two to fix and to repair systems that may have been broken along the way.
Absolutely. And what I really hear at the heart of that, and what I know is at the heart of it from being involved in the project, is making sure to have it be a community-centered approach.
Sure.
I know all of our organizations that we work for try to approach our projects with the community voices first, and we're really amplifying their voices. We're not coming into the community, into the schools with our own beliefs and knowledge. We need them, the children with their own experiences, or the youth, to tell us themselves, so that they can be a part of the solutions, really, ultimately.
Sure.
So we will, of course, be getting much more into Vision Thrive. But before we go any further, I would love to hear from each of you more. And again, the hats that each of you wear, to briefly explain what your work looks like and the communities that you're directly connected to. You want to go first? Fantah?
So I am an community advocate for BestSelf's Black Mental Health Response Team, and I am also a founder of WhittCare, which is an adulting workshop provider. So a lot of the work that I do helps kids to navigate how they're making decisions, what they think about themselves, how they feel about themselves, and how they want to show up in life. So it's very much layered between their mental health, expectations of what society or school, family has of them, and kind of figuring out or navigating who they actually want to be for themselves, how they want people to perceive them in society, and how they want to show up in different spaces.
Absolutely. And for that reason, we brought Fantah onto this project to be our facilitator for our focus groups, because she's a subject matter expert, and that's really important to gain that trust in these groups. So thank you.
Thank you.
Evanna, can you talk about what
it's
you
my
do?
turn. Oh, okay. So my role at the Office of Health Equity is a little different. So the program that I currently coordinate, the SHIN program, is a program that is in every county in New York State. Our program here in Erie County had gone dormant for 10 years. So we did not have this program for 10 years. Wow. And typically the program is housed in early intervention. And for those who don't know what early intervention is, it's a program that the county has that supports families with children from 0 to 3 who have any type of emotional, physical diagnosis or impairments, and helps them with physical therapy, speech, things of that nature. Once a child gets to 3, they then move them, if they qualify, for special education. And they start to get the support to the school. Where the gap is, right? Not everyone qualifies for special education. Also, the gaps, people don't know what they don't know. The government is not always the kindest place to get support, especially in the times we're currently in. And so a lot of people go without what they need, especially communities of color, Black and Brown communities, communities where English is not their primary language, LGBTQIA communities. And so our program is different because we're not housed with early intervention. We are completely separate. And instead of just taking people with diagnosis, we're helping children who don't necessarily have a diagnosis. Maybe their parents, their caregivers, aunts, grandma, is like, something's not right. I don't know what's not right, but I know something is different from maybe my other grandchildren or nieces, nephews, or other children. And so our goal is to help them find community resources to support them. So is that helping them get an evaluation? Because you don't know what you don't know. How can we help them get an evaluation? People think that children's hospital is the only place to get an evaluation. There's millions of other places to go, right? But if no one tells you that, how would you know that?
Absolutely.
And so that's a big part of what our program has done in the course of 3 years. I was brought on to redevelop and make this program look a little different, but from more of an equity lens, looking at those social determinants of health, meeting people where they are, understanding why people are where they are, and trying to get them the best help to ultimately help their children to become their ultimate best selves.
Yeah, how important. Thank you, Evanna. Thank you for what you do. Arica?
So as you said, I'm the director of community engagement, BestSelf. And I also want to say how the triad is formed. I'm sorry. So I'm from BestSelf, and then Evanna is from the Office of Health Equity, and then obviously you're from the Buffalo Center for Health Equity. And Vision Thrive is made up of these 3 organizations who play a role in not only youth development, just our community's well-being as a whole. And so one of the reasons BestSelf is involved, I would imagine, thanks to Pastor George, is because of our work in the community and because of our mental health support. We're the #1 behavioral health provider in Western New York. We also have services, youth-based services within the schools, within certain Buffalo public schools and charter schools. And then again, the Black Mental Health Response Team is in some schools as well. And so all of the agencies coming together for this project was very intentional, and will make for a success, I think, as a whole. But in my role, I do things like this. And so I do a lot of collaboration work, building partnerships, reconnecting partnerships, lots of building trust in the community, educating the community about mental health, what it means, right? Tying it into our everyday life. Your health includes your mental health. And so when it comes to youth, again, adults kind of, we kind of just overlook their needs. And so I also have a chance to do that. I'm in schools at events and different meetings and coalitions. And so we're able to provide that outlook about mental health as it relates to youth and the community as a whole. So
we know you be everywhere. It could be everywhere.
I try.
And because you are right. Here you are. And because, and all of us in our own way are very community engagement facing. So it's very intentional that we're kind of faces here brought together. And I love that word. And I love that word as it pertains to this project, the intentionality of the triad, the collaborative partnerships between the three entities, and then bringing Fantah on, and the work and the expertise that she lends to the project is incredibly important. Also, the project is CDC funded. If it's CDC Foundation funded, excuse me. But again, from the community engagement lens, I'm curious, for you in your hat with BestSelf, Arica, what patterns or needs are showing up that you see in the community that you serve?
Oh, patterns. Okay.
So many.
That's a good question. I don't know. Being in the community, I mean, you hear a lot, I don't know if I would say patterns. They do express needs. I mean, everything from, there's so much domestic violence happening within the homes. Housing in general, people need housing. People need stable housing. They might have housing, but it's got bugs. They can't get up the can't afford it. They can't get up the steps because they're broken. Mental health needs that, before coming to BestSelf, I also worked in the Office of Health Equity. And so, it's just the whole family. No, seriously. And the #1 thing people would say they need more of is mental health supports. And so when you think about needing mental health support, it's all encompassing, because if your housing ain't right, you ain't got no job, you ain't got no food, you're really not thinking about your mental health, but your mental health is suffering. That's right. And so, and that's just not an individual, that's the family. Right. So we're trying to look at the whole piece and get everyone the help they need. And even though, this is a youth-focused initiative, again, thank you to the CDC Foundation. They have caregivers, right? We're talking about the whole household, and it affects how they show up in school and other spaces. So
that's right.
I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. You absolutely did. Hitting on the social determinants of health, which we are all too familiar with.
Sure.
Talking about it and how everything overlaps and bleeds into the next thing if something's not addressed.
Your money is funny.
That's right.
Which, I mean, it's real.
Yeah,
period.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So again, Fantah, back to you. We're curious, what are you seeing from being in the schools, being that subject matter expert, being in the schools probably more than necessarily the rest of us are, and hearing from youth right now? What are you hearing from youth right now around mental health?
They are suffering. and their caregivers and parents don't have the tools necessary. And if you can think about life where we're at right now, like rent is crazy. And you're paying rent. I live on the east side of Buffalo, right? I own my house. I got lucky. My parents taught me to own. But if I had to pay rent, I would be homeless. So how does that affect my child? Now we're living with people that we don't exactly get along with because we need some place to stay. Or you have young teenage girls that are choosing to exchange themselves for housing in different places. And they come to school and everyone's like, you're great, come on time, be your best self. And it's like, no, I can't be my best self because I'm dealing with all of this outside stuff. My parents either don't understand or they don't have the tools, but they don't have anyone to trust. And it's actually pretty sad. So they're suffering.
It sounds like it. And then they come to school with all that baggage.
How are you supposed to get good grades?
Right.
It's like, I hate to say it, but it's very real. If I have to trade myself and I'm 15 or 16 years old, what future do I have? Or if I'm a young man and I am at home, but my mom is going through whatever she's going through with this guy, I can't really protect her. I can't say anything because the guy pays the bills. What future do I have? So they're kind of like hopeless. They don't have motivation, and it shows up in their schoolwork, right? It shows up in their absenteeism. So it's very sad, but it's heavy.
That's right.
When it comes to this project, I always think about that poem, because I ain't got a pencil, or I ain't got a pencil. If you just look the poem up, if you Google it, it'll come up. But just how you have all these other things going on, and you get to school and your teacher's asking you, why haven't you sharpened your pencil? My mother ain't even home. She's got to work. I got to get my brothers and sisters together. We barely got breakfast, right? And my teacher's asking me, why haven't I sharpened my pencil? Or where's my pencil? You just have to look the poem up. It'll come right up. Right. But that's the exact concept, that.
And that's interrupting. Maybe I went to an event a few months ago, and it was based on that. All of the students that are in a program had different bricks in their backpacks. And it showed you, to your point, of what a lot of the children and youth are coming into school with, right? And so they had different scenarios that were real scenarios based on the kids that are in their program. But the kids would come up, and to your point, my mom didn't come home last night, and so my little sister needs to get ready for school, and I have to get my sister ready for school, but her bus comes after my bus, and so I'm going to have to walk to school because I can't get on my bus now, and now I'm going to school, and my teacher is asking me, where's such and such? I left it at home because I was too worried trying to get my siblings ready.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Right. So it made me think, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
No,
you
don't.
It made me think of, like, when I sat there, it was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm living with an aunt and an uncle. They don't want me here.
Yep.
I know they don't want me here.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so, but I'm 15. What am I supposed to do to get out?
That's
right? So I think that based on some of the things that both of you have just said, people don't think that, right? We don't think that way.
Yep.
That's right. And I'm incredibly, coming off the back of yesterday's very first youth focus group of this initiative. We heard all of these themes. I mean, I was just, it's taken aback. We have a general understanding working in the work, doing the work that we do, what we're going to hear, but to really, really hear them vulnerably and loudly express that themes of not feeling heard and not feeling like they have somebody or a system that really hears what they're facing and what they're going through. So we know that system is broken, and that's what we're trying to contribute to with this project. So in creating this space, I really want to talk about what it takes to create a space where young people feel safe enough to be honest, to be heard. Maybe starters with you, Fantah.
They need to see them. I try very, very hard to act like a 12-year-old.
You were amazing yesterday. She was amazing.
I try very hard to remember what it was like to be the awkward kid in class.
Yeah.
or the smart kid that didn't fit in, or the not so developed kid that's quirky and not exactly cute yet. Literally, that's what they're going through. They're going through the same things that we went through as kids.
It's just more publicized because it's on social media and it's on things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, I wasn't the cutest little thing younger, but no one saw that unless you saw it, Now you get jammed up in a picture. You're like, ooh, right? Like, it's hard for these kids. It's really hard for them.
Yeah, it's bad.
And the pressure, let's be honest, we all talking real here. The pressure now to have the bundles and the lashes and the the youth get a lot, and so if
the
you're
bust down
and if your family can't afford that or whatever your situation is, it's a lot of pressure besides social media, because that's a trend we've been hearing. What I know, the staff focus group talked a lot about how social media affects the youth. And so all these outside factors play on your mental as a youth. So it's important to show up and that as someone that they can relate to.
Yeah. So what are these issues that we're talking about in that kind of present themselves in trying to build honest communication? What does that look like when you have youth that have additional needs, Evanna?
So I think some of the youngest children that we have in the program, our program goes 0 to 21. We have 3-year-olds that parents are calling and saying behaviorally they're getting suspended from school. You're a 3-year-old in pre-K. How and why, right? And the first thing is people want to blame the schools, right? Well, the school needs to do this, right? But if I'm one teacher with 28 kids, I would love to be able to provide that support, but I can't. I have to also be responsible for 27 other people's children.
That's right.
And so I think a lot of times our systems, the fact that it takes 18 to 36 months to get an evaluation for certain diagnoses, how can you help? If you don't even have the abilities to help these poor babies. And so we see it from that standpoint, right? We start to see it young where things, COVID, unfortunately, as we all know, COVID did a lot. And there were so many kids and children and youth that were missed because of COVID, even after. Also, as in Black and brown communities, we're not always listened to, right? So if I go to somewhere and I say something's a little different with my child, I'm noticing something's up, you might get a pediatrician that's like, well,
say that
they're fine.
That's right. We were going to get into it.
Because if you're telling me as the doctor my kid is fine, then I'm going to assume my baby is fine.
Right.
Until we get to school now. And now we're getting to school. And now there's behavior, whether it's hitting other children or not being able to keep up with the rest of the class. And to your point, now I'm made fun of. Now there's different things going on. And so we're seeing that even in our littles, they're starting to show the need for mental health. And there's only so many programs that will even help a child at 3.
That young as 3.
And so if we don't help this child at 3, and now we try to do some type of intervention at 12, well, we done missed 8 years. I mean, well, I'm not a big mathematician. Was that 8 years?
Yeah. Something like it.
I'm a social worker. Hold on now. I went to McKinley. Don't do me like that. But the point was, you have this 8-year gap. And so 8 years, a lot can happen in 8 years. A lot can happen in a year. And so you're seeing what I'm seeing is a lot of kids were missed. So now, boom, my doctor tells me to go get an evaluation. Okay, I go, I do all my little paperwork. I'm ready. Okay, we'll see you in 36 months. 36 months. Wait, what? What am I supposed to do now?
Right.
36 months. Right. And so where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do?
Right.
I don't understand the systems. I don't understand how this is supposed to go. This is a podcast. The government is telling me that it's my fault my child has whatever is going on.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go to nobody that.
Say it, yeah.
So people are put in a very tough spot.
Sure.
And to Arica's point, to Fantah's point, it's the kids that are the ones that are suffering and nobody realizes that, right? When you have wait lists that are so long, I don't suffer from that. The kids are the ones suffering because they're not getting the supports, the help, the interventions, the support that they need to be their true better selves, to be adults, because little ones become adults.
Right.
And so I think people forget that, to Arica's point, in Fantah's point, this is our future.
That's right.
These are our future senators and mayors and presidents and Beyoncés. I mean, if anybody need a manager, they future Beyonce. But
we got a whole team.
We ready. Sign us up. But I think people forget that part. You know what I mean? So it's.
Yeah. I think you're hitting on kind of where I like in the same vein of this. I'm trying to beg the question again. We're going to have data and that's collected from these conversations around this Vision Thrive project and initiative. We have true intent to have quantitative and qualitative data that will be put together with the epidemiology team over at the Erie County Office of Health Equity.
Shout out to Mike and Laura.
Shout out to Mike and Laura.
Shout out. They don't like doing stuff like that.
They don't like doing stuff like that.
They are experts in what they do, and I'm just so grateful for them. So,
absolutely.
I mean, you keeping my epidemiologist real busy because I'm trying to get him to help me lose some weight. And he can't create nothing for me because he's too busy doing all of this.
We are keeping
trying to get to my birth weight, and he can't.
Oh my god! Yeah, shout out to them. It really is quite a collaborative partnership, and so there will be findings that we do publish later this year from these focus groups, from all the data that's being collected under this project. But in that vein of kind of where things are being missed, if we were to pinpoint or discuss where do we think adults or institutions maybe have it wrong right now? Where are they going wrong?
Can I say
the youth? I love Arica with the church finger.
So because you're asking this question, and then Evanna said something that brought a thought to my mind.
Go ahead.
Overwhelm. She made a statement about, I get to school and my teacher's not a social worker. Let's start there,
right there.
right?
Yeah, that's the
but
first
they're
part.
doing a lot of social work-y things, right?
Yes.
And so the class size is too big. They're working out of their scope. Even the social workers are overwhelmed, right? Because they don't have enough. Funding doesn't work, right? And so where do systems fail? Funding, not listening to the youth, not listening to anybody.
Right.
They're focusing on,
and that's just what it is. And that's just from a community engagement lens. We got to listen to the people we're serving. So many things get done without the input of the folks they're supposed to serve. 100%. And so I think that
snaps and claps.
Everybody's overwhelmed. Nobody knows what to do. And nobody knows where to go. And people are just, moving on. And unfortunately, in the school system, privilege plays a big part. Like if you're high up enough, you really don't know what's going on in the schools. People are in the schools, they know. But if your life is perfect, you don't really care about what's happening in 14208, 1511, 14. You don't care. And so that's it.
Well, I also want to say, so I am in school currently to become a licensed mental health counselor.
Hey, come on now. And everybody already thinks she is a licensed mental health counselor.
Working with the kids is the reason why I went to school. Because I have lived life long enough to know some life skills, right?
Right.
But the actual science behind it, I was missing. So when you go to school, they teach you the science behind it. And the science behind it is that at no other time do you develop as rapidly in adolescence other than being an infant.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
comes from there.
Okay, you learned how to walk, talk, crawl, chew, blink, cry, communicate, all this stuff as an infant.
Yes.
But when you get to adolescence, now you're developing who you are. And you don't change that much from adolescence.
Yeah.
Right. But again, they're not social workers. They're not licensed mental health counselors. They don't have the people that are actually trained to support the kids in the way that they need intertwined within the school as they should. Yeah. How do you fix it? Money. Arica's absolutely right.
Yeah.
You need money. And it is simply the fact that they don't have the people who are trained to do the job.
Yeah.
And I think, just to give a shout out to teachers, because I can never be a teacher. I have one child, and that was a pleasure.
Walking away from that focus group yesterday, I said the thing that we all say: pay them more.
And I think a lot of times,
and not just teachers, yes. I'm sorry, Evanna, but
right,
your teacher assistants, your admin, your everybody.
Yep.
Children have so much energy,
yes,
and you're in that school all day with them,
right.
Seeing them more
on top
of
their just the regular energy and the brightness and the beautiful things they contribute to, but then on top of the issues and the challenges they bring every day, it's a lot. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I think people, to your point, I'm glad you said that. A friend of mine works at a school. She works at the front desk. I'm like, oh, she's the mean lady at the front desk. Okay. And it's funny because she called me once and she was like, what hair stuff do you have over there that you don't use? And I'm like, tons of stuff. What you need? And she said, because one of the little girls comes in and I do her hair every single day. I wash her hair. I do her hair because she gets made fun of in class because they don't have the means or abilities and different things going on in the household. And so, yes, school staff knows more than anybody of what's happening in the schools with parents and with what's going on.
Right.
And I think teachers wish they could.
Yeah.
They wish they could, but they can't.
Yeah.
I can't do my job of teaching whatever we're teaching that week, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, whatever. And also I wish I could, but I can't because I have 27 other students I have to do that for. And I can't, I'm only getting paid this little bit of money. I'm paying my own money to make sure I have what I need in my classroom, to make sure that,
yes,
you know what I mean? And so I think it's a really horrible spot for school staff to be in as well.
Mm-hmm.
They want to change the systems. And just like our youth aren't heard, our school staff is not being heard.
That's right.
They're not being heard.
That's
we don't
right.
have the skills. We don't have the time. We don't have the space. We don't have the capacities to help. And we know these are the issues, but I can't help Arica as much as I want to because I only got 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
And I think it's a really horrible space. So to the points of the schools needing more people like Fantah and different programs in there is really important when you have somebody who's saying, this is what I love to do. And this is what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do what I do.
Yeah.
You focus on what you focus on and I got this.
Yeah.
But the money has to go. I mean, as lovely as she is, I'm sure she has bills. I mean,
that's right.
I got 2 kids. One in college.
I mean, I have to put
she
you
got
on
big bills. Big
what
bills.
I'm saying,
And he's actually in school for psychology.
Beautiful.
Talk about legacy.
And my daughter's in school for teaching.
Wow.
But you could not.
I love that.
Wow.
Building. Yeah. And so funding and trust. I hear a lot about that. What does trust in practice look like in these schools?
Doing what you say you're going to do.
Showing up.
Following through.
Integrity.
Follow through.
And again, intentionality.
100%.
Yeah.
Respect.
Well, how are you? What are you saying to these? What are you saying to these children when they walk in the door? Are you saying good morning?
Yeah.
Right.
These youth, some of the youth, if I say good morning or I say how, they look at me almost as if they don't know how to even respond, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so these things, and I know we're talking about schools, but it should be done at home. But I'm talking about schools. Are you saying good morning?
Right.
Yeah.
Are you saying have a great night when you leave?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you asking? Are you getting to root causes of when they present with something? Are you yelling about a pencil? Are you saying let me just probe a little more and see, right? And so I think that that's where it starts. The intentionality, the relatability.
Yeah.
Are you genuine? They can read you.
Yeah.
And so I think that's important. And I do want to shout out our partner schools too, because the partner schools that we're working with, I feel they're so good. Health Sciences Charter School, Reach Academy, Charter School of Inquiry, and Buffalo United Charter School. Yeah. And they are all leaders in education that are trying to prioritize youth mental health, families' needs, and they are interested in this project so enthusiastic and cooperating, and they are trying to do their best. But again, funding, right? They want more mental health supports in schools. They know the needs.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it would all start. If you have a teacher or a facilitator or whatever in schools, because everybody's not a teacher.
Mhm.
You might be close to a teacher assistant or
Right.
whatever. If you know that person really got you, if that youth recognizes that is so
Yeah.
important. That is so, even with me, when I think about teachers, I had an elementary school. You knew who was there for the youth and who was there for themselves and a paycheck and to get the loans paid off. You knew.
You knew the teachers to avoid.
Yes,
the ones that,
absolutely.
The ones that lean in rather than lean back. That's right.
Absolutely.
You knew where to get your noodles from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or who will tell you to get it together quick.
That's
right.
right.
If you acting a fool, you gonna get that one person.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
I was a McKinley girl. Shout out Mac High. But we had Dr. Rozier. And she played no games, right? She was straightforward to the point. She held a program for us called Project Respect, which taught us about respecting ourselves and loving others. But she would hold you accountable. You acting a fool, she coming in that cafeteria pointing right at you. Come on this way. Come to my office and let's have a conversation. Why are you showing up this way?
Yeah.
What's going on?
That's right. Really inquiring.
I mean? And so I think when you have somebody that teaches you, it's okay to be your quirky. Yes. Maybe I don't have a 30-inch bust down. I just learned what a bust down was because of my daughter. But I was like, well, that's long. But to show up, you are perfect who you are, and everything you bring is important. And I think people also mess up. It's okay to not have all the answers, and it's okay to not know. Yeah. And it's okay to tell somebody, "Oh, I don't know that, baby, but let me."
They're gonna trust you more if you do that.
Try to figure something out because we don't know everything.
That's
it's okay not to know everything.
That's right.
But tell somebody when you make it seem like you should be doing this. Oh, should I? And I think that's a big problem that we have. Shout out to my director Kelly for the Office Health Equity, but very big on the shoulding people. And I think the world should you. You should exercise. You should eat kale. You should eat salad. You should have mental health services. I don't even have insurance.
That's right.
How you want me to do that? And I don't even have no insurance.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't even got transportation.
I can't get there.
I can't get to the
but let alone afford it. I can't maybe my copay. My money is funny. I got a little change, and that's all I have. Yeah. And so I think you're starting to see, especially in the way that the world is, families maybe who are not documented. Or everything that's going on in the world right now, I'm not going to nobody to ask for nothing.
That's right.
Because I'm trying to mind my business and stay quiet and under the radar.
Yeah.
But and even
go ahead.
In addition to undocumented, if we look at communities of color and how reporting things are often received.
Just gonna go there. Yeah.
So a kid could say something like, "Oh, I wish I was invisible."
Yeah.
Invisible doesn't mean not here. And depending on who receives that information, they'll get a call from CPS.
Quick and fast.
So now CPS is involved. We know CPS disproportionately does not serve families of color or families in poverty as well as other families.
Yeah.
So now you have children who are scared to report anything.
Yeah.
Because here is not worse than where you're trying to take.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Can we stay there for a second? Because I really want to frame, and we really want to frame that Vision Thrive, this project and initiative is centered on addressing and better understanding the mental health conditions of youth, as we've already said, but on the east side of Buffalo, where we know that these social determinants of health, all the things that we've been talking about today, and that all of our organizations talk about all the time, every day, from sunup to sundown, that we're disproportionately impacted by the social determinants of health and inequities. And that is not exclude mental health and behavioral health related issues. So what are some additional truths? And you both really have highlighted some already, but about mental health, especially for Black youth or especially for youth of color, that don't get talked about enough?
They're not supposed to have any.
Right.
You're not supposed to have any emotions. You're not supposed to feel anything. You're supposed to be numb. And if you're a male or a boy, baby, you can't feel anything. You can't be happy because if you're happy, that means something else. You can't be sad because if you're sad, like literally there's nowhere for you to have emotion. It's really sad.
You know, there was an old adage, I think a lot of us might have heard it growing up. I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's my household. But children are to be seen and not heard.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that was something that I think, unfortunately, was a trauma response that came from communities prior, and now it's still showing up.
That's
now,
right.
What happens in this house doesn't leave this house.
That's right.
But if I'm getting beat or I'm starved or something is wrong, I need to get help, but I can't do it. Because again, to Fantah's point, now you call CPS. Now that's a whole different issue, because now CPS is coming. It might be other stuff going on. Now money is food stamps getting cut. Now it can unravel to something else. Or we're living with somebody who's paying the bills. I done pissed this person off now, and now we're in a real bad spot, right? And so I think the youth, I should say, but are dealing with so much more than imagine. Like, I think growing up as a kid, I grew up in a single parent household, but I don't recall seeing, there were things, obviously we had issues, but you couldn't tell me I didn't have the best childhood ever, right?
Yeah.
Until I got older and was like, math ain't. But these kids, they're seeing this from day one.
Yeah.
The different struggles, the different, you're not good enough. Black and brown men being killed for being black and brown.
That's right.
You can't even stand outside without somebody pulling up on you thinking you're a gang, or I'm just outside minding my business.
Outside. Yeah.
Trying to go to school, can't go to school.
That's right.
Go to school. I did. I worked with Snug Buffalo for a while I was in my grad program. I had love for gun violence. Not love for it, but
gun violence prevention.
And when you would hear what some of the staff was doing to support these youth, and Arica, I know, can understand a little too. They were coming and picking some of these youth up, drive them to school in a whole different area.
Absolutely.
Because they can't stand at the bus stop.
That's right.
Because if I'm at the bus stop for 5 minutes, that's not good.
Yeah.
And so there's so many people that are doing work that aren't always given their flowers and credit for the hard work that
That's
they're
right.
doing.
That's right.
Because, on their own private time, this wasn't their work time. They were getting up at 7 o'clock to go pick up such and such, to drive such and such from Buffalo to West Seneca, and then coming back to pick them back up, because education is so important.
That's right.
And I want you to get your education. I want you to be safe in the same time, and I think people take that for granted as well. There's a lot of youth who don't have a home.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that. I'm 17 years old. I can't afford to go on my own.
Right.
So I'm staying in spaces and places. They don't want me here.
That's right.
You know what I mean? They don't want me here. They don't. I was a child who lost a parent, my mother, at 17. They put me in counseling but didn't nobody explain to me what I was supposed to say when I got there.
That's right.
I'm like, why
How
am
do you
I
have
here?
the skills?
What am I supposed to say?
Right.
I lost my
She's
parent.
gone.
What else do you want me to
Yeah.
say? You know what I mean?
That's right.
They ain't coming back.
Right.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
so,
I can relate.
the lady wrote in one of my notes, well, she won't talk. Well, ma'am, I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't know you, and I don't know you.
What you want me to talk about? It was a Tuesday?
Yeah.
And so I think, to the point of that trust, that what can I do to help you?
That's right.
How can I help you?
That's right.
Tell me what you need, and let's start there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if I can show up to be trusted, if I can show up to show you that I hear you, even if I can't fix it, I can tell you that's messed up.
That's right.
That ain't right. You don't deserve that.
That's right.
That means so much to people, even as adults. I think when somebody actually sees you, you have that, you like, I don't need you to do nothing. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
They need that too, And so I think it's tough. And as a mom, I think my daughter is in college, and she called me yesterday and asked me, what was a refund? And I'm like, Lord Jesus, fix it. I done failed my child.
Look, she got some
little coin.
Yeah.
$8. $8.
Most of the time, you get a bill.
Maybe.
You get a bill.
But I'm going to tell you, even in that, all these programs and work I do, and I'm like, I'm still raising my own child to to show up for her.
Exactly.
This is what this is. This is what this means.
That's
Because they don't teach that in school. They don't teach you how to write a check, how to sign your name, and things are different. And so
I think that we really forget, and we've talked about this, but we really forget and must try to keep in mind everything that our children, our youth are going through before they get into school, while they're at school, and after school. Their life is just continuing to be inundated. And as Evanna was hitting on those points of even getting to school is not safe in our neighborhoods. It's not, it's not safe, and their basic needs aren't being met as far as having housing. So,
I wanted to say something else. It was a very important
Please.
issue that we have with our youth. the gender identity, sexuality, right? When you're talking about, excuse me, a society that it's like half and half, right? So like, there's obviously we see now people are coming out and celebrated for being who they are, but then at home that's not what you hear, right? And sometimes even at school, and so that's a whole nother layer. So I might not have a house, we might have food insecurities. I'm struggling with who do I like, who am I? It's so far beyond sexuality. I think a lot of parents or even teachers and whatever want to go to sexuality. That youth is trying to figure out, who am I, right? And so when you talk about the mental health issues that come along with that, that community, youth in that community are attempting suicide at massive rates, and or dying by suicide at massive rates. And so I think that that's another thing that falls into the category of overlooking what the youth feel. Like they don't have feelings and they don't know what's going on inside of them. And it's important to see them, right?
Yes.
To respect them and to open up and learn. And I think that's one of the major issues that our youth are facing, for sure.
You actually just reminded me of a young lady, a 6th or 7th grader. I came into class one day and I said, "Why are you sitting by yourself?" She said, "Because my mom wants me here." I said, "Well, why does your mom want you here?" And she said, "Because I'm gay."
Oh, wow.
And she said that her mother had found out she had a girlfriend at school, contacted the school. She had to sit by herself in every class and at lunch because they would not tell the mother who the girlfriend was or any details, because you can't tell about any other child. So her mother elected for her to sit by herself in every single thing she did.
Wow.
And I hugged her and I told her, "I don't care who you are, what you like. I don't care. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. You could be the worst person in the world. It doesn't matter. You still deserve love. You still deserve to feel like you matter. You still deserve to feel like you fit in. You still deserve to feel like you have community."
That's right.
And a lot of these young people, youth, they don't have cheerleaders.
Right.
They don't have anyone. I had a dad. I don't care what I did. I could have got suspended from school. I got a whooping because that's what you did back then, right? You got your butt whooped. But with that being said, after I got a whooping, my dad would tell me all kind of great stuff about myself. You can't be mad at you. I can't be mad at me. It's everybody else's fault. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. It was on your side.
I knew I was beyond that.
But with that being said, that's not the right coping mechanism from a mental health perspective. However, it worked for me then. So as a kid, I was able to navigate things simply because, I'm not the problem. Everybody else is the problem. As I became an adult, I realized I was some of the problem. I am not without fault.
It wasn't you, friend.
But I made it through the hardest
That's
part.
right.
It wasn't you.
And again, these young people, they need cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And if nobody has ever cheered for you, how do you cheer for other people?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's important to your point. I grew up with a mom who was tough, but you couldn't tell her I wasn't the best thing, right? There were letters written to me about just how I made you clean the house for a whole week. I appreciate you, and I'm great. And I was like,
for you to be able to hold.
And I think that's important. It gives you that peace, like, okay, I matter. You know what I mean? I'm important. It's not gonna be perfect every day, but I know that someone loves me and sees me. And I think in a lot of spaces, and even from a parent perspective, I think sometimes as parents we fall short. And I think it's okay to say that we fall short as parents.
Yes.
Because we have life too, right?
Yeah.
We have our own mental health, our own issues, money, food, gas, whatever the things you have going on, relationships. And so sometimes you fall short.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay where parents have to also be accountable to say, I messed that up, baby, and I want to do better.
Yes.
I need to listen more.
That's
I need to show up more. Because none of us are perfect, right? And so every day we wake up, we have an opportunity to be better.
Yeah.
And I think I have those conversations with my daughter often when I say to her, when you decide to go to therapy, let me know. so I can pay the copay and get you some
Oh,
Starbucks
wow, that's that
and
support.
pay for your Uber.
Mhm.
Because I know you're going. I just want to make sure that you know
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe I yelled a little too much. Maybe I
Yeah.
said, you know what I mean? And so I think that parents, it's okay.
The
You can't
accountability.
fix it, but you can always fix it.
Sure.
You can't go
And you
back, but
can take
fix it,
accountability.
right?
Sure.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't even look like I messed up this.
Right.
I messed up that. Literally, all you have to say is, I did the best I could with what I had.
Yeah.
I tried because I wanted you to be better.
And
Yeah.
I'm learning and I'm growing and I see it wasn't, that's not how you needed it.
Yeah. That's right.
And I think a part of that is just unlearning what you already learned. Like you said, like your dad whooped you, whatever. We already know that this is a different time, right? But many parents are operating on what has been taught or demonstrated from the generations before them.
Mhm.
And we have to unlearn a lot.
That's true.
That's just what it
So much
is.
so.
But what happens
Break
in
those
house?
Yeah.
you're not gonna break those generational curses unless you unlearn
Yeah.
what's been passed down.
Right.
You know, and so and just taking a step back, and you know, is the punishment necessary? Is it serving me? You know, what's going to be the outcome?
Yes.
Right.
You know, and so I think it's important to just always self-reflect. I know somebody I ain't got no kids. Mind your business. The point is,
Great.
it's hello. Hello. So it's just so it's just like, you know, as adults, just period, just taking a step back, you know, and seeing yourself as that youth. How could I have done things different, right? And that transparency of sharing that with the youth. I think that's very, very, very important. And not doing that can cause more damage, and that could be, you know, the issues, part of the issues that the youth are having. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, ladies, so what would meaningful impact look like as it pertains to this project rolling out? How will we measure success? And this is just phase one, as Arica was mentioning in the beginning. But and even maybe, what are we really hoping comes out of this?
We look to make strong recommendations that will, and I'm speaking very boldly,
speak that talk,
transform systems.
I love that.
Whether it's providing 7 more counselors at school, so and so and so and so, you know, whether it's providing a slew of resources at the beginning of school so parents know where to go, know how to get those resources, know where to access those things, whether it's we're going to take what we learn from these students, from the parents, from this support staff, analyze it and apply it.
Yes.
And that's going to be the impact to change the trajectory of these youth lives.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to add something. Mine is not going to sound as eloquent as Miss Arica.
Come on, eloquence.
I would like whatever it is that you guys figure out how you get it to the end. I want kids in the zip codes where poverty and challenges are normal. I want them to understand that you can be successful and happy.
Yes.
Thank you.
They are not exclusive of
Yes.
each other.
Yes.
Thank you.
You do not have to work 4 jobs.
That's
and this
right.
is very personal for me.
Yeah.
My brother had 4 jobs. My brother recently passed away unexpectedly. He
We're
had
so sorry.
4 jobs. I don't know anybody who has 4 jobs that is happy.
Yeah.
Except for Sherman.
Yeah.
But with that,
Sherman said, don't put me in this.
He said.
But with that being said, because we live in the society that we live in, because we experience poverty, because we experience all these different things and culminations, even from slavery, that stuff is
Sure.
That's
Absolutely.
right. It is.
Absolutely.
It is
That
in our
epigenetics.
DNA.
Absolutely.
And we feel like we have to work for cars, houses. If I don't have money, she won't love me.
Yeah.
If I'm not this, he doesn't want me. All these crazy things.
Yeah.
You can be successful and define your success as you want it to be. Have money
That's
and
right.
be happy.
Yeah.
all within the same time.
That's
Sure.
right. That's right.
It's not different.
Thank you for uplifting that. Pastor George recently has been talking to our team a lot about the concept, and there's a book about it, I'm sure there's several, but of weathering and just how it's just normal for minorities, specifically Black people, and even more specifically Black women, to just operate under these conditions and just be expected to just be stretched in this way. And
I think when you said that, that's valid. I mean, as Black women, we're expected to show up. You know, the word resilient.
I'm tired of it. Yeah, I'm tired.
It chaps me at every.
I want to be resilient no more.
Arica knows I have a different way of how I say chat, but we record and I'm on work time.
Right.
But that word, I don't want to be resilient.
Or strong.
I don't want to be strong.
Tired.
I am exhausted. I am exhausted.
That's right.
And I had a conversation on my drive here as I was coming in the parking lot with a friend about some stuff, and I just literally said to her, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm just tired.
Yeah.
You know, but I can't show up and I can't show up and be tired.
Yeah.
Because when I show up and be tired, right? Oh, there she goes.
That's right.
Right?
She passive aggressive.
Here she go.
Yeah.
If I cry about something, it's girl, she over there acting like she.
That's right.
Right. But the next person can do that. And so I have to show up. I have to be 10 times better. I have to be 10 times this. I have to be. That is exhausting, right? And I think that for many, for Black women specifically, it's exhausting. I'm tired.
That's right.
Like
that's right.
I got to go to school and I got to shine like this to go to school. I want a good job, but I got overlooked when I have the qualifications for the job.
That's right.
Right? And so, you know, you're constantly told and shown, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And I think when it came to the program, I think Arica said something amazing. If I can, safety. I think one of the things I think we had a subcommittee as a part of the triad was to make sure that the youth, the staff, the parents were safe.
That's right.
How can we ensure that while you tell us what's going on, not only are you heard, but we see you enough to make sure we have something for you in that space, whether that's a room, whether that's a tissue, whether that's a glass of water, or somebody to put their hand on your shoulder and be like, I understand it. If you'd like to be touched, sorry to be touched you without consent. But
that's okay.
You know, but those things are important. And I think it was
thank you. And you are a parent, and you know, I think you're an example of part of the, you know, the system that's stretched, that's raised a child and gone through this. So I also want to make sure in talking about Vision Thrive that we share how people, the community, someone listening might be able to be a part of the work.
Ooh, come on.
Yeah. So we currently have a parent and caregiver survey open as part of this project initiative. And we really want to hear directly from the community. So specifically, if you are a parent or caregiver with a child in the Buffalo Public School system.
5th to 8th graders.
5th to 8th graders. Yes. So there are requirements in order for you to do this survey. 5th to 8th graders, in the Buffalo Public School system, you can access the survey through the link in our bio that we will add, or by emailing us at info@buffalohealthequity.org. And as a thank you, participants can then be entered into a raffle where winners will be selected each month. And this is just one of the first ways that you can actively contribute to shaping what we hope for this to become and what it will become. But there should be more opportunities, especially as we move on through phases of Vision Thrive. But next, I just want to thank all three of you, again, Arica, Evanna, and Fantah, for the work that you do, the incredibly meaningful and deeply intentional work that you three do, and for taking the time to be here and share your experiences and perspectives today.
Thank you. I feel like you're discrediting yourself for all the hard work you
Yes, because listen, Gia came in and said, let's get this together, honey.
She had the paper. She said, I got these questions.
I'm really grateful for Gia. So Gia came in last month on the project. We've been working on the project a while. She was added in her organization, and her it's just been great. Things have really shaped up, and we are headed in the right direction. And so late's better than never.
Yeah.
You know, she's been obviously she's been with the Center for Health Equity, a long time, but great addition to the project. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Arica. Thank you for holding my hand to get all the way caught up.
Yeah.
Over here being nervous.
And over here hosting for the first time. Yeah. So just a little bit of a recap here. What we really talked about, it always comes down to funding to support this work, which again, we are very grateful to CDC Foundation, but also also, a lot of our conversation was rooted in trust, in the relationships that are had, and having the right organizations, the right trusting people involved is so essential to truly listen to our young people, not just speak for them, for the community, for their caregivers, for the parents, for the school staff, but creating space for them to really be heard. Vision Thrive is just getting started, as we mentioned, but we are hitting the ground running. We have like 9 focus groups this month and more next month. Many to go, but I hope it's clear that the intention behind this is just transformational and rooted in purpose, and that the people involved, they very much deeply matter. So for everyone listening, remember, if you are a parent in the Buffalo Public School System, if you'd like to take the survey, the link is in our bio. You can stay connected to us through our websites, as well as our social media. Buffalo Center for Health Equity social media is popping off lately. But we just want to thank you so much again, and stay tuned for more. Thank you for tuning in to the Igniting Hope podcast.
Bye.
That's a wrap.
Man, I was so mad that I